absolute killing. There's nothing I enjoy more than finding an amazing retro bargain, and one of the best and probably one of the last reliable places that you can do this now is at museum jumble sales, where they get rid of their excess stock. And this is a bone of contention. We'll just quickly cover that at the start, that some people don't believe that this is a thing that museums should do, but the bare fact is that they cost money to run, and nobody needs a million C64s or how I'm obviously exaggerating, or however many they have, but there is always going to be an excess stock that museums need to shift. Now, how they deal with that, some museums deal with it in slightly different ways, but we're going to take the Retro Collective Cave or the Retro Collective as the example, the prime example for today. And speaking to Neil, his exact words were he wants not only to clear some space, because space costs money as well, but also to make some money for the whole setup, to improve their facilities. And I don't think anyone could argue they're not lining their pockets there. They're not driving around in Lamborghinis and living off of the community. They've made an amazing facility, and if you haven't been, you really need to go, because it's just one of the best places in the UK for people in our retro sphere. So, and the third thing that Neil said, which really struck me, was he said he wanted to see these things in the hands of us, to be given back to the community. Some people have donated these things, but they haven't put a condition on it to say that Neil has to use this at the museum. Very often I'll get donations here and I'll pass them on to people in my part of the community. I'm not running a museum, but one of the last things that I want to do here is make a profit out of the community, out of the hobby. That's just not what I'm set up to do. I know there are people that do that, and I'm not going to judge you, but the way that I think is best for me, and obviously from what Neil says, he agrees with this, is that the benefit of the community is a valuable thing to achieve. There were some really good deals, but we'll get into that in a second. Now, the whole thing was set up with 3 vendors on the day. There was Ben from Retrosect, which is, I believe, I've not been to it, I believe is a retro-based shop in Tewkesbury in Gloucestershire. Then beyond that was, in the corner there was the start of the Retro Collective, but we'll get into this. We'll take a closer look. And at the other end was Keith from the Swindon Museum of Computing. So there were 3 vendors there on the day, and they had slightly different purposes. So Ben from Retrosect had obviously brought his stock. He's not, it's not a fire sale of his items from his own shop. So his prices were what you would expect to pay from a vendor. I'm not sure, he may have reduced his prices on the day, but he had a different purpose to the museum stalls that were there yesterday. I'm not sure how much Richard had for sale on the day. I did see that he had some giveaways in the hallway leading up to the stairs that go up to the cave. There were some DC motors and some imperfect 3D prints and things like that, which were on display. I also got to go and have a look around in the new pump house section, which was fantastic. Jason, my good friend Jason, took me around and showed me all around that bit, and I even got a sneak peek into the inner sanctum of the library as well. And I was watched closely so that I didn't pilfer anything. So the day was actually a Patreon day, which is, if you're a member of Neil's Patreon community, then you get invited to a Patreon day every month at the cave. So the idea, or one of the things that Neil set out at the start, was that not everything would be brought out right at the start, so there wouldn't be a big rush to grab stuff, but there was still some really good stuff. And I think I got really lucky with my first purchase. And there's a picture here from Richard from Heber. Took this photo of me clutching on in disbelief to this thing. This was my first purchase of the day, and I've been absolutely desperate to actually open this up and see just how bad the damage is. It's an Acorn Archimedes A3000, and it's externally in very good condition. I don't like this sort of tape. Should never be used on retro computers, because look at this. Look. Packing tape. No, it's horrible stuff. So I'm going to have to work at getting that off later. So I've got a bunch of screws ready to go. So only a partial disassembly needed. These look like they've fallen out. There's a bit of broken plastic. A couple of springs there as well. I'm going to find a bag for that straight away. A better bag. I want to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of this video, PCBWay. If you watch this channel, you know I love using UV resin for fixing broken standoffs or replacing snapped case clips. It's a fantastic technique for localized damage, but what happens when a device is completely shattered or a proprietary battery cover has been missing since 1995 and your name isn't Polymat? Sometimes there's just nothing left to patch. This is exactly when I turn to PCBWay. They're famous for their circuit boards, but their mechanical services are what really get a restoration across the finish line. If a missing or broken part is completely unobtainium, you can upload a 3D model and have them manufacture a high quality replacement. They offer a huge range of industrial options from SLA resin to SLS nylon. It's perfect for when you need a specific factory finish, high durability, or advanced materials that you might not be set up to print yourself at home. They even offer CNC machining if you need to recreate a custom metal bracket or a heatsink. Don't let a shattered case or a missing bezel stop you from finishing a repair. Check out the link in the description to get an instant quote on your custom replacement parts. Big thanks to PCBWay for supporting the channel. Cheers! And before we go through everything else, I have to know what I've bought. So I bought this, I picked this up. I walked up to the store, the Retro Collective store. I made a beeline for it. And it wasn't like I was elbowing people out of the way. And I think people were in a little bit of disbelief. And there was just, at the start especially, there were some incredible bargains there. But this thing caught my eye at £20. I could not pick this up. And I think a few people were just leaning in to pick it up at the same time as I was. So I got very lucky with this one. And I think it's, you know, a few people have said this is the bargain of the day. Well, I don't know. I have no idea how you get into these. It looks like it's got plastic clips like a C64C. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be unpleasant. Oh yeah, that really is unpleasant. Let's try a spudger. I don't like that at all. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything. There's a screw there and there, but I think they're for that plate across there. And I can't see any more screws. Oh, there are. Oh, that looks like, these screws here look like they're attached to the floppy drive. There is a screw there. There's no screws in there or there. There's one here, but it looks like that's holding that cover on. But let's get that one out, in case that one's fighting against us. We've got a non-ferrous screw. There we go. There's a clip at the back here. It looks like there might be, yeah, this one's broken actually, and this one, there we go. Right, we're partially in. Oh, looks like the top comes off. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do something about those clips at the front before it will move anywhere. Oh, look at this IEC at the end of a cable. Well, that's not going to be fused. Oh, and yeah, I'll definitely put a plug on that instead of using that. That's not very safety minded, is it? Actually, that's that was screwed on, but the screw, this piece of plastic has just given way. None of this stuff comes with a guarantee. Oh, right, we've got one clip away. Yes. Right, that's the front. Here we go. First look. Oh. Well, what I can see here looks really clean, and sometimes you see these things where they're just bathed in acid. Let's get the keyboard out. Can I take the keyboard out the way? There's nothing under there. What? Isn't that where the battery was? Yeah, B1. Somebody already snipped the battery. Oh. I made an absolute killing. Okay. Well, the power supply doesn't look very happy, actually. Oh, no, that's just some glue between a couple of components. But, yeah, I'll have to do something about the power supply. That's currently got a piece of cardboard over it. I think I just got super lucky here. I think I got a mostly working... It says on the case, on a sticker, power's on, no video. But, yeah, I think... with what I can see here, there's a slight bit of green on, what is that? These are ROMs, aren't they? On the legs of this ROM. Could just need, oh, and there's some green in this keyboard connector as well. So this area has had some battery damage, but somebody got here first and took it out. There's a resistor there which is really trashed. Yeah, there's a resistor here that really doesn't look very healthy. This is amazing. I honestly thought that I was going to open this up and find just a dissolved motherboard with very little left on it, and that I was going to have to, at the best, be able remove all of the chips and put them onto a recreated motherboard. And no, this I am 100% confident that there's a few traces around here that look like they've had some problems, but I'm 100% confident I can bring this back to life as long as nothing proprietary is broken. So yeah, this is the start of my Acorn journey. That is absolutely amazing. Now, I didn't see any other bargains like this on the day. There wasn't anything else that costs 20 quid for a machine. I don't know. How much does a machine like this go for on eBay? I am just going to check. I'm not flipping this, by the way. I will keep this forever. This will always be mine. I'm in a little bit of shock at the moment because they go for hundreds. I'm not sure what to say. I'm actually I'm going to message Neil right now and say, is this right? Because I feel like this might have been a mistake and this shouldn't have been sold for £20. And I'm going to offer that he can have it back and see what he says. Because, I mean, if it is, you know, worth hundreds, which I mean, it is, I can't, you know, I'm not going to spend hundreds of pounds on one of these. But I'm happy to give it back to Neil and he can then sell it on if he really, really wants to, or do whatever he wants to it. So yeah, I'm just going to go and do that now. Okay. Neil says, no, it wasn't an error. And he's gone back to what I was saying at the start, that this is a way of giving back to the community, and I'm part of the community. I just got lucky on this one. And he pointed out that he didn't pay for these. These were donations that the Retro Collective and the Cave received at some point in the past, and he's passing that on. He says, in his words, he's got his quota of A3000s, and this one is surplus to requirements, and he wanted somebody in the community to take advantage of that. Oh, I got it! Yes! I'm so excited about this. It is amazing. Cheers, Neil. And can I just say that for like the first time that they've done anything like this, they did a brilliant job. It was really well organised. We had food laid on, and the facilities are just amazing, because once you've got bored of, can you ever get bored of retro bargain hunting? But once we got bored of looking around at the gazebos and what was underneath them outside, and we'd had a chat with everybody, we had an arcade to go into and play video games from our youth. Got to nose around in the pump house, and then we went up to the cave itself at the top of the mill for our lunch, and just, it's a place full of lovely people and amazing things. Go and visit the cave. You must go and visit the cave. And they are going to do more sale days. I can't imagine that there will be another A3000 for £20 at the next cave day. I hope not, because if there is, I don't want somebody else to have, to dilute my special moment. So look, I'm not even going to switch this on. Nothing's going to get switched on today. These are all future video content, and you can look forward to this at some point in the future. But I've got a lot to learn, and I need to get outside my comfort zone as well. I need to be looking at machines that aren't Commodore 64s and ZX Spectrums, because it's a great way to learn how these things work. Lovely. The screw here that was in the bottom, and I will tape that to the top, and we're going to make this beautiful again. By the way, I really like these mottled red keys, and that they're not all matching as well. They're absolutely fantastic. Look at it. Right, let's put that one away for a minute. I've got lots more to get through. There is one at the end I'm going to save till the end to make you watch the whole thing, or you could always skip. But there's quite a few bits and pieces, but there's one at the end that is even more jaw-dropping than this one. Not in actually, no, in a bargain sense as well. So I went with the intention of buying a C64C, and I got one. £40, which isn't tested and working as well. Is not warranty seal intact. Wow. Oh, it looks like it might be a longboard. Oh. Okay, so I've got projects in which I need C64Cs, the chips off of them. And I've got two motherboards from Fuzzy Lee, these two. And one of them's got a faulty CIA and a faulty color RAM, but the rest of the chips should be good. So I've got, basically I have all of the chips I need for the two projects I need. They're two special builds, but I wanted spares. And I thought if I could find something that was reasonably good value, I would pick it up. And if I don't need it, then I can always pass it on. But this is a really nice one. It's a bit grubby. I'm going to have to break the warranty seal to... yeah, warranty seal is now broken. Let's have a quick look inside this one, because I need to know if it's a short board or a long board. If it's a long board, then it was actually a bit of a waste of time. And I should have paid a bit more attention, but I was keen. There weren't many C64Cs there, and I was kind of keen to get hold of one. So because I set that as a target. Come on. There we go. No, it's a shortboard. Excellent. That's really good. Oh, it's really dusty in here. There's a lot of insects as well. Insect carcasses. Bits of moth. Loads of moth. Yeah, loads and loads of moths inside here. Oh, how does this still work? Wow, look at that. But yeah, this has got everything I need. It's the right Super PLA as well with the color RAM. It's got a nice VIC-2, and it's got the CPU intact and everything, and the CIAs. Yes, brilliant. That's exactly what I need. So I've got a spare machine for my builds, more than one build, in case I need it. So that's a good thing. But that's going to need a clean. £40. I paid twice as much for a Commodore 64, which I really didn't need, as I did for an Acorn Archimedes A3000. So Yawning Angel Keith was there, and he attended a recent event at the Southwest Amiga user group, and he sent a picture on our Discord, on the Big Red Arrow Discord, of this. There's some other things in here as well, but we'll separate them out. This is an Amiga jigsaw puzzle. So A500 case needs TLC. Gavin sold it to Keith at the Southwest Amiga group, not the Amiga user group, Southwest Swag, yeah, of course. And it's a smashed Amiga 500 case. And I'm going to use this in a future project. There's more bits of it there. So look forward to that one. I'm not going to say any more about that. I picked this up from my friend Henry, who hangs around on our Discord, and he 3D printed. Oh, one of the buttons fell out. He 3D printed a case for my C64 analyzer. Look what a lovely job he did of that as well, with my logo on there. This is Henry Orange, but yeah, I'll put that in there later. It's even got a holder as well, so that I can have it up on the wall somewhere. Very nice. Thank you, Henry. I got a spare off of him as well, which is not. I think it's missing the USB hole on the side. But this came as well. This is part of a group buy. So Pete Addison was there, and who's one of the members of our Discord, and he's also a volunteer at the Retro Collective, and he ran a group buy for the Des Test VIC-20 Special Retro Hardware Discord Edition, brought to you by Retro Hardware Discord, Factor of Matt, and Dice Man, that's Pete, Dice Man Pete. And this is a Des Test cartridge for the VIC-20. And what a fabulous print that is. Brilliant. So we raised a load of money. I think Pete raised about £96 as well, which is going to the befriending scheme. Thank you, Pete. That was brilliant work. Right. Now, Neil thought I was going to come along and snap up all the Spectrums, but he fails to realise that I've got a workshop full of Spectrums already. There's about 20 over here waiting to be repaired. But I could not walk past this, and it is in horrible condition. It's only £15, which I think is a decent price for what it is, but I believe this is the fuller version. Oh, it's in a really bad way. That spacebar is wandering around all over the place. But yeah, this is a fuller not external add-on keyboard for a ZX Spectrum. I think it's a ZX Spectrum. I'd imagine it is. I can't imagine this is for a ZX81, but it's got no markings on it. The sticker has gone off of here. Let's have a look. Actually, if it says Rob out, then it's a ZX81, and it's got colours on the keys, and that edit key is stuck down. But it's in pretty nasty condition. The keys are jammed up against this part of the case here, so they're all sticking. But yeah, £15. I thought that would at least look nice on the wall. I reckon somebody made a hole for microdrive maybe, and put an interface 1 inside there. Sorry, interface 2 inside there. A few more things. There's these 2 things I bought in one go. I think I made a deal with Neil on these, and I think I got both of these for £20. So I basically got this for free. And this, in Neil's words, are genuine Sanwa arcade parts. It's a Monster joysticks. It looks like an earlier version with acrylic, laser cut acrylic, all held together with these machine screws. But this one is set up for a PC Engine, and I've got a PC Engine pad, but I don't know if it works, and this will obviously work, probably. So yeah, be good to have. But yeah, a couple of buttons on the side as well for pinball usage, and a really nice joystick, nice and comfortable to use as well. Yeah, that will be good. So that was one of the ones that I saw come out, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting, and grabbed it. You had to be a bit sharp and watch what they were bringing out of the back. There were all sorts of things. I mean, we saw an Amiga 1500, an Amiga 2000. There was an Amiga 2000 motherboard with battery damage that went. So yeah, this was part of the deal. This and the joystick was 20 quid. So it's an untested NES, and obviously it goes that way up in there. But obviously you haven't got the cartridge port that goes with it. But I was thinking that I could buy one of those aftermarket cases, and but maybe in a Famicom setup, or a front-loading setup. Maybe there's a different way. Or I could get a Famicom motherboard and transplant the chips off of this one. So like the PPU is especially difficult to get hold of, and yeah, transplant the chips off of this one onto another board. Maybe that's a thing I could do. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. But yeah, 20 quid, I thought I could have bought a whole one. There was a complete NES there for £30 as well. So, but it just looked like a nice project. And they were open to offers on most things. So towards this, well, most of the way through the second half of the day, I got to just chatting with people, because I thought I was done buying things, and I was working my way up to going home, and I was chatting with the amazing Holly, the Duracell bunny of the retro collective, who just does not have a limit to the amount of energy she has. And Holly said, "What are you after?" And I said, "Anything broken," because she was bringing more things out of her part of the sale in her storeroom behind the arcade archive. And well, we went into Holly's storeroom, and she showed me an Atari 800 XL, which had some unusual modifications, I think you'll agree. And she wanted to know if I wanted to use it for content for the channel. And at first, I looked at it and I thought, I wouldn't even know where to begin on this. I have no idea what I could possibly do with this. I don't even know what this whole setup is. And if anybody does know and knows exactly, and it's quite interesting that I've seen since an article, or somebody showed some pictures on a phone of a similar modification to an 800 XL. I would like to know. So we agreed a price that is basically again daylight robbery, and with a smile, Holly handed it over to me.
They push buttons. Oh,
No, they're meant to be toggles, aren't they? Surely.
no, that's a push button. Yeah, they're push buttons.
These
ones are toggles.
They must be like advanced.
Yeah.
A bit advanced.
And here it is. Yeah, I don't know what I've got myself into. I don't know what this is. It looks like this says bank here, so this is the memory banks, and it has got inside it a RAM expansion here. 41256 chips, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One of those must be different. 4164. KM 4164. 41256. So there's 8 41256s on there and one 4164. And they're 74 LS 158. And yeah, this is all logic. Now there's some bits missing in here, but there's also some bits been added. So we've got a logic chip there. There's a few logic chips that have been splayed and stuck to the top of the case here. There's a couple of chips stacked under this ribbon cable below this ZIF socket here. And you won't believe what's inside this ZIF socket. Ooh, the RAM's got on me. That, turn it round, zoom you down, is a PLA from a Commodore 64. And it's got some legs that go over the side and are soldered to the pins. I have no idea why that might be in there. There's a bunch of buttons here that are just hanging off of this thing here, and they've got write enable, I think, and they've got different address lines written on them, and I don't know. There's this socket on the end of this ribbon cable. 2 sockets on the end of this ribbon cable that are attached to each other. There's a couple of toggle switches here for basic and card screen here, and there's TX and RX here, and basic and don't know what that says. PIA, XL, old, optional OS, and these are momentary switches. Oh no, they are momentary switches. Momentary buttons. There's an NMI button there. What on earth is going on in this thing? So, I mean, it's not going to work. It doesn't have a ROM in here. It should have, I think, at least one in here. This, I think, isn't that the GTIA? I don't know. But that's missing. But maybe that's been moved somewhere else. I don't know. Or it's just been harvested. It looks, actually, yeah. It does look like someone took it out in quite a rough manner. They've taken that out and damaged quite a lot of the traces and pads here. That really doesn't look very well done. The rest of the work on here, there's some rework on here and some of the logic over here next to the onboard RAM has been changed and socketed, I'd imagine. The ROMs have been put into sockets here. But like I say, they are missing. I wonder if there were EPROMs inside those. But where are the... Oh, and there's also a big problem in that there's bits like this, wires just hanging off of things, and more of these switches underneath here that are just hanging down. And I don't even know, that looks like some sort of composite mod going on there. And there are wires hanging off all over the place that have become detached. What is that for? What could that possibly be for? There's another one here. What? Yeah, I don't think... there's wires everywhere that are just broken off. I don't think I can bring this back to life as it stands. What is that? I'm going to give it a try, but I think that, you know, I'll source the ROMs and whatever that chip is. It could be the Pokey, actually. That's going to be the valuable chip. Yeah, it might be the Pokey. I have got a spare Pokey, actually, that was given to me a while back. So I can make it whole again. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm open to suggestions. If there is like a guide, a legacy guide, something that was printed in a magazine to, you know, that someone followed to make this thing, I'd like to do it again. But I would probably take everything out. And I imagine that there are more than one thing going on here, or there is more than one thing going on here, because I mean, all of the LEDs here that are, I mean, that's beautiful work that somebody's done here to make all of that. I don't know if that's going to be part of, say, I don't know. I have no idea. But I want to make it work again. I can replace the ZIF socket, and why does it need a ZIF socket? What's going on there? What is the purpose of this first? If I can find out what the purpose of it is, then maybe we can make it work how, you know, it was supposed to work. Who knows? Who knows? I would like to try, and I think I owe that to Holly. We are definitely going to be making some videos on this one. Anyway, I am a little bit in shock at the amazing stuff I've got. I'm not sure. I think the Acorn Archimedes, if that had been battery bombed and destroyed inside, it still would have been brought back to life. I still would have tried, and it would have been, you know, a great project to attempt. But this and the Archimedes are just stunning. I'm so lucky to have got these, but I wasn't the only one. There were many people there walking away with some amazing stuff. So get yourself along to the Arcade Archive and Retro Collective and the Cave for a visit at the very least, and keep your eyes out. Become a Patreon of Neil's if you want access to these, or definitely early access. I think this sold out quite quickly. I know there were non-Patreon members there. I'm pretty sure Neil opened it up to the public at some point. But I think if you are a Patreon member, you'll get to know about these things earlier. And maybe get a bit of special treatment. But thank you, Neil, for hosting all of us on that day. It was just a brilliant day. It was worth the 7 hours I spent in the car, and I'm really looking forward to coming and visiting again. You're all amazing. Thank you. So anyway, that's enough for this one. I've got to find somewhere to put all of this stuff now, and start making plans on what content I can make around it. Lots to think about. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.